Hello everyone. So this is the first episode of a new podcast. Paddy Brennan, Punching Up. Boxing's obviously a pretty important part of your life, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been in the boxing club since I'm 8 years old. We actually landed in Birmingham from Ireland at a time where he says no blacks, dogs are Irish.
Jesus.
So, being punched, kicked, spat at, my father said, look, we need to change this a little bit. So I was in there 8 years old, sort of, walks in there with three elder brothers thinking, the smell, the noise, the different ethnicities in there.
Yeah.
You had black, white, green, blue, orange.
Yeah.
No matter what colour it was, there was no politics in there. There's no religion in there. It's about the work ethic.
Yeah.
But it was great. The atmosphere was great. It was the community, the friendship.
Yeah.
People were beating the shit out of each other, and then afterwards they were shaking hands, smiling, laughing, and going off and sort of washing the blood off themselves. And I just loved it. I loved the smell.
Yeah.
The roughness, the sound of the bags.
Of everything.
It was everything, really. It was the community feel. I actually left that gym thinking I'd love this. It just became
What gym
part
was
of
that?
my life. This was the Villa Boxing Club.
Nice.
But it used to be called the Dudderson Man, and then they changed the names to the Villa because it was actually on the Villa Park.
Yeah.
So, but I absolutely loved it. Back in those days, you could walk down the road, 100 yards, and above a pub, there was always a boxing gym.
Yeah. What year were we saying this is?
This was 1969. 1969. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some changes since then, mate, isn't there?
Well, I tell you what, boxing, it's always been a poor man's sport.
Yeah.
I've never made any money at boxing, never. I've had a gym for the last 20 odd years and I've always lost money. I'm losing money here, but it's not about that. It's about the love of the sport, the community feel, the people that you meet.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more than that. It's a social hub.
Yeah.
Especially here in Spain.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd set another club up.
No.
But coming out here in Spain, I love it.
Because it's not just for those that want to get in the ring, is it? There's the option for them just to come down, be part of something, throw some punches at a bag and find a way of getting a new level of fitness in there.
See, my experience over the years, it's not about the boxing, punching each other, because it isn't about that.
No.
It's about the camaraderie, it's about the friendship, it's about, the respect, the discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline's a big one with boxing. The hard work that goes into it. It's not, you haven't got other people to help you when you're on that night fighting away. You're on your own.
Yeah.
You're not in a football team, you're not in a rugby team, you're not in a cricket match. You're on your own in there. So, until I know these lads are ready, I never put them in. It takes a lot of graft, a lot of hard work, a lot of punches to the head.
I did a white collar one, and for 8 weeks of training, and I got in, and that 6 minutes was like the longest 6 minutes of my life.
I know.
I've got massive respect to anyone that gets through the ropes and is willing to stand there face to face with someone that's willing to punch you in the face. There's a difference having a street fight, but getting in a boxing ring knowing that their sole intention is to punch you in the face as well is a whole different kettle again.
There's just so many things going on in your head.
Yeah.
It ain't just throwing punches, it's about moving out the way of a punch.
Yeah.
Because one punch can change everything.
Yeah.
So you got to move your feet, move your head, keep your hands up, you guard. It's a chess game.
Yeah.
It's about triggering him, to throw a punch, move out the way and counter with another one.
Yeah.
So boxing for me, it isn't like a fitness gym. It isn't somewhere where you go and, lift a few weights. It's much more than that.
Yeah.
You put your whole life into it. I mean, a dear friend of mine, God love him, rest in peace, he died about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ricky Hatton, he's a very, very dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
And when I got the call in the morning, that he took his life, I was absolutely gobsmacked.
Yeah.
I mean, several weeks before that, he was in Tenerife. I was supposed to go to Tenerife and have a beer with him and stuff like this. And, and I should have gone.
Yeah.
I'll have that regret for the rest of my life. See, with Ricky, like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Ricky, he's a prime example, Mike Tyson. He's had those thoughts as well, those dark thoughts. When you're at the top of your game like that, and the whole world knows you and loves you.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in a guy's living room and we're all there and we all thought Mike Tyson was going to beat Douglas. And when he got knocked down, I'm not joking, we was glued to our seats. I was open mouthed. I thought, I can't believe this. Because for 10 and a half, 11 rounds up to that point, he beat the shit out of that guy and busted Douglas. And I thought, and we all had a bet on Mike Tyson to win. It was like,
I think it was easy money back then.
It was easy money.
Yeah.
And of course, when he lost, he struggled. He struggled because you're on top.
Yeah.
And when Ricky Hatton, I think he had 48 fights.
Yeah.
And I think he only ever lost 2.
Yeah.
Lost 2 fights out of 48. And when I remember being there when he boxed Costa Zoo, I went to about 24 of his fights.
Really?
Yeah, I loved the man. I loved to watch him fight. He was only up the road from me, Manchester.
Yeah.
So I'd always go and support him and watch him. My old coach used to train him as an amateur. So I used to see him as an amateur, Frankie Sullivan.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of respect for this. But when you're at that level, and the whole world knows where you are, and all of a sudden you come out the game, and then the young generation are coming through, and they don't know you, they've never seen you, and then all of a sudden people walk past you in the street, they don't say hello anymore. It must happen to the film stars as well. All of a sudden, these film stars are no longer film stars anymore, and they sort of get lost in the background, the backdrip, and all of a sudden, they start to feel alone. They're not on that spotlight anymore. The phone doesn't ring anymore. No one is inviting you to the red carpet dues anymore. And that's what happened with Ricky. He said it himself on TV. He had all these dark thoughts. He was the champion of the world at one point. He was on a massive high, and then all of a sudden, he lost to Pacquiao, he lost to Mayweather. I mean, these are incredible fighters.
2 exceptional fighters.
Exceptional. But as a boxer and as a fighter...
You can't take that.
Even I know. Yeah. But even to fight those 2 and lost, against them, it's still a massive downfall.
Of course it is,
Holy shit. So I respect any fighter, especially at Ricky's level and at any level, Tyson's level. When you do lose, you're going to a dark place.
Do you think that's kind of more... It happens to quite a few boxers because it is you against the other. Do you think it's not as prevalent in potential team sports? I know it happens to certain players and etc. But with boxing, it's you against the other. I know you've got a coach, and the coach obviously that your trainer changes, etc. Your promoter, but as you say, once you're spent, a lot of these promoters are that cash cow's gone. Like, there is not an element of aftercare. Do you think that's something that's missing in the sport?
With as a boxer, you're on your own. It's up to you to get up in the morning. You've got nobody shouting
trudging that 5 kilometres in the morning.
Doing that 5 miles every single day in the rain, the snow, the sleet, doesn't matter what it is. Then you've got to do a full-time job. It's a poor man's sport. And, you're not in America. I always remember talking to Roy Jones once, and he was paid to train. And a good friend of mine called Richard Woodall, I used to train in his stable with him and his dad, Lenny Woodall. And, he'd work in a factory all day. Then I'd meet him at the gym. He was covered in soot and God knows what. And then he'd train for 3 hours. And we'd all train in there. And then he'd go and fight. And you think the difference with the Americans, there's a pot of money for you. The scholarships, and there's a lot of people want to invest in you. In England, it's nothing. Okay, you got the England GB, but they still don't give you any money. There's nothing. It's all about them.
It's all based up Sheffield way.
It's all based Sheffield.
Sheffield, as long as your face fits, you're kind of allowed to be looked after a little bit up there and stuff. And
but you still don't get any money. You've still got to do your schoolwork. If you're a young kid at school, you still got to it's compulsory to do your schoolwork in the day, but you're trained 3 times a day, and the training's for free, but you still don't get any money. So you work all day and you get a couple of titles and everything, then you go into the program. And then again, as long as you've got the right manager, it's all about the right manager. The right mentor, right manager. And most of these managers, listen, they're only in it for the money. It's a job to them. You're just a number to them. If you can get bums on seats, when I turned pro, you have to sell a minimum 25, 30 tickets. Else you're not on the show.
Really?
And I didn't like selling tickets. I didn't want to go around and punt off my mates. Give me 50 quid for a ticket. I didn't like that side of the job. So I had to. And after that, I thought, I'm 34 years old. And I thought, right, I'm out the game. I've come out. I can't be an amateur anymore. I didn't like the pro game because you're treated like cannon fodder. If you haven't got, a good pedigree and been looked after, in the amateurs. So I thought, right, then I set a gym up. Went on the coaching side. I'm level 3 with Ireland, level 3 with the UK. And I thought, you know what? I'll take my own gym on, take my own kids on. But then when I started to work with kids and become a coach, It's totally different. Completely, miles away from when you're a boxer because you think you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
But then you try and teach a kid
to think that.
The ABC of boxing, I've always stuck with the ABC of boxing. When I took my level 1, I trained with a wonderful guy called Chris Pyatt. If you're watching Chris, hiya. But there's a guy called Chris Pyatt. I think he had 72 fights, and I think he won 68 or 69 of them. This guy had no feet. He just stood there in the middle of the ring, but he would batter you with 2 hammers. This guy was incredible.
A bit like Herman Munster, just stood there.
This guy would just batter you with his hands, and he honestly got both hands, he would knock you out. And I thought, I'm going to fail with this guy because he had no feet. When the guys do the test with you and they say, right, show me 1, 2, left hook, right uppercut, left hook, they want you on the 45-degree angle and they want you to come forward. Now, he didn't do this, and I thought, I'm going to fail. And one of my pals there, and if you're watching Johnny McIntosh, Johnny said, that's Chris Pyatt, isn't it? I said, it's a fantastic guy. So I offloaded him on him. I had his partner, and we both went through. He didn't. And at the end of it, he's come outside to me, and he started saying, look, he did that on purpose, Paddy. But I did. But John, thank you, I got my level 1. And then it took him another couple of months to get his ticket.
Bless him.
But this guy was unbelievable. But he had something like 300 kids going through his gym in a week.
Wow.
He's from Leicester, but he didn't have the certificates to take his kids into the ring.
Right.
So he'd take the kids to the shows, but he'd have to sit in the audience.
Oh, wow.
He couldn't take him in until he got that qualification. It's a completely different game. You try and stand a kid in front of you, get them to move their feet, move their heads, throw the shots. Yeah. It's a real learning curve, and it takes years to actually to teach. People here in Spain, it's very weird. Since coming here, I thought, they're in the EU. We'd all be the same. Even in the building, I thought they'd all be the same. They're not. They don't know how to build. And they certainly don't know how to coach. And I've met a few of these guys. I've trained a couple of kids here over the last few years, and they've not been that good. And then all of a sudden, they're coaching. I'm thinking, oh, my God. They've had no certificates, no qualifications. They haven't been to a school where I show them the ABC of boxing. They've just gone into a gym, punched the bag, maybe had 1 or 2 fights, and all of a sudden, now they're professing themselves as coaches.
It's the same with certain sports in certain countries. Boxing's not high on the list. There's not many world champion boxers from Spain in weight divisions. It's not a focus. And obviously my background's rugby, and the rugby's developing. Where would you place boxing in the ecosystem of Spanish sport?
See, when I come here, I was very shocked that there isn't any boxing schools. When I landed in Denia, which is sort of 25 minutes away from here, there was no boxing schools, nothing at all. And a guy approached me and said, look, I know you're a boxing man. I was training in another gym, punching a couple of bags, and I rounded up 25, 30 people. And I thought, okay, I'll get involved with him. So I got involved with him, set this club up, and then before I knew it, 2022, I had my first show. It was absolutely rammed from top to bottom. I got the Irish to come over. We trained these guys for just over a year. And then before I knew, boom, 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 I think we had 12 or 14 fights on, and we lost every one we were losing against the Irish because, again, I'm not being disrespectful to any of the Spanish.
They've been doing it from here, haven't they?
Yeah. The Irish, they'll come out of their mum and they're punching on the way out.
Windmilling,
windmilling. And of course, they've now been seasoned boxers, and they've had some great coaches around, and they've been doing it all their lives. And then come here to Spain, these guys are eating tapas, drinking wine, chilling on the weekend.
That's why we moved here, though, mate. That's
why we moved here. It's wonderful. And anyway, I put the show, and I thought, go on, I'll make a bit of a dent into the boxing world here. And since I set that up, there's 2 other boxing clubs have set up. Okay, they're taught by some of the kids that were in the gym, and how good or bad they are. I won't say that on camera, but here in this gym, it's an academy. We take them from A, and we take them all the way through B, C, D. We get them to move the feet. Forget their hands. Forget your hands for a few months. Move them feet, move that head, counter, punch, left, right, and get out the way. Learn the game properly. Not just come in and start punching each other.
No.
That isn't from, get the cardio done. Make sure they can go 2-3 minutes, keep pushing, then bring them in, then start to do some pad work with them, get them to move their feet, and then bring them up slowly.
What's your advice for somebody that wants to start? in different periods of their life, because not everyone's. Some people watch boxing from afar and then sort of fall in love and think, actually, I want to just go have a sort of a throw around, loosen myself up. There's others that want their kids to get involved. What's kind of your advice and progression?
Listen, boxing's for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, women as well, children.
Yeah.
You know, the discipline you get from this is unbelievable. The respect they get from this.
Yeah.
You know, there's no more respect from somebody who punches you in the face. No. You know what I mean? And taking it and coming back and apologising and everything else.
Yeah.
So for me, in this gym here, we've got kids from 8 years old, 8, right up to 83. I mean, he's fantastic. He's 83. And I'll tell you what, he put a lot of people to shame.
Yeah,
he's really, really fit.
Wow.
He loves the game. And he said, I cannot believe this, Paddy. I wish I'd have done this years ago.
Yeah.
And everybody loves him.
Yeah.
And next thing, he's got a gym full of friends.
Quality.
You know, you would never have met any of these guys. In this gym, we've got police, Guarda, national and local police. We've got doctors. We've got Michelin-star chefs. We've got teachers. We've got all sorts of people. And when they travel from around the country, you know, from Madrid, from Valencia, Alicante, to come here on holiday, they find out we've got a gym and they come in here. We have walk-ins all the time. We've got an MMA girl in here who's 16 years old. She's world champion.
Wow.
And I'm going to put her on the show.
Awesome.
She's world champion. 16 years old.
Not many places you can come and mix that sort of eclectic mix of society together and everyone just becomes one unit and one family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's fantastic. They come through the door because boxing is like that.
Yeah.
It's not like in a football team. I know how many players, 11 players or whatever it is. It is 11 players, 15 in rugby, I think. Yeah. So 11 players.
13 if you want to do rugby league, but that's kids' choice.
So when they come in here, they're on their own.
Yeah.
They can walk through that door. You know, they don't need gloves necessarily. You know, they don't need anything. Just walk in the door and there'll always be me or a couple of coaches to grab hold of them and we'll take them through the ABC of boxing. Nice. Where they do some sit-ups, press-ups, you know, squats. Doesn't matter. We'll get them into it, move their feet and get them to punch a bag. You dabble in women's classes. I'm sure there's plenty of anger to throw around there when the husband's being a bell end. I've always said, if I had 10 women in a gym, I wouldn't need anybody else. Yeah. Because they seem to work harder. Yeah. There's more loyalty. Yeah. But always remember this one girl. She came in and she booked a private lesson, and I trained her. That girl, you know, became a 2-time gold medalist. This girl would batter everybody in my gym. I'd put her in against men that would want to kill her. The travellers would turn up and I'd put her in and they'd look great. She got this ponytail of hair. And I said, Paddy, it's a girl. I says, I know. He said, Paddy, I'm going to hurt her. I said, I want you to try and kill her. I would actually say that to them. And then all of a sudden, within 30, 40 seconds, it'd come out, the nose would be bleeding and the lip would be bleeding, and they'd jump out the ring in disgust, go to the room, take off their glove, boom, in the car and drive off. So with the women, they're great. With the men, that seem to be more, will I say, one-dimensional. They'll come in, they'll train like mad, and then they won't say anything. They won't tell you anything. Keep everything to themselves.
Ghost you.
And they're gone. Yeah. Until you ask them what's going on in their lives, sit them down and sort of force them to tell you, they won't say anything. Yeah. And it's been this trait with men forever. Yeah. It's got to be all the way through. Men seem to keep everything to themselves. But here in this gym, our doors are always open. They can say anything at all they want to us. Yeah. And we've got a few people here have actually come forward and started saying things that, they really need this, for their mental health. Yeah. It's a great fixer-upper, this is. You know, you can sort of unwind, you can tell people your stuff. There's other people with similar problems to you in here. Yeah. And a boxing gym does that for you. It really does. There's lots of different people in here, from chefs, from doctors to nurses, you know, to restaurants here. A lot of hospitality staff here, because that's where we are. We're living on the Arenal. Yeah. And it's you know, there's a lot of people that work in that industry. But you've got a lot of support here. Yeah. You know, it's a fantastic thing. I always remember, you know, I had this young kid, because I've had some really wonderful lads over the time and some really wonderful girls. And you're always waiting for somebody to walk through that door and to change your life. Yeah. Change your life as a coach, really have somebody that's got it all. And this one particular lad, we called him Boom Boom Kelly, because he had a knockout in both hands. I'm not joking. This kid was unbelievable. And he was 12 years old, he was 6'2", and he was 13.5 stone. He was an animal. And the police brought him to me because he was a rough kid. He'd been sent from, you know, another part of England because family issues. There was lots of problems. So he was under the radar while his dad was in a lot of trouble with the police. So they had to get this kid out of the house with his mom and his other 2 brothers.
Wow.
So when they come down to Sleepy Tenbury Wells with, I think the number of people there is about 1,300 people.
Wow.
And that was top heavy, whereas there was no crime.
No.
You know, probably sniffing somebody's underpants was probably the worst thing.
Stealing them off the washing line, that's about it.
Yeah, that's about the level of it. Maybe on a Saturday night, there's a few farmers punching lumps out of each other, swinging handbags, you know, that kind of stuff, but nothing more than this. When this kid come to me, it was like his eyes were bleeding.
Yeah.
You know, his head was about to explode, and it took him about a week and a half before he would pick up a skipping rope. When the police said, Paddy, you probably want us here, you know, to watch these kids supervise, I said, no, I don't.
No.
You know, he's not going to do anything to me. He can stand there by the reception and watch what's going on. Let's see if he gets interested. It took about a week and a half, and this guy picked up a rope. And within a couple of weeks, he's skipping with the lads. And probably another week after that, before he started saying hello.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, he started to say a few other things to me. And before I knew it, I was at a position where I wanted to adopt him. I absolutely loved this boy.
Brilliant.
He loved me. He knew my whole family. We'd take him home with us. We'd feed him. We'd buy him stuff. We'd look after him that way. And then when it all came out, what he told me, he'd been living in this sort of world where there was nothing but violence in his family. There was always somebody kicking his door in.
Wow.
You know, he lived in this kind of thing. And I understood that because I come from that same background.
Yeah.
So I took this kid on. I trained him up as a professional. I took him everywhere with me. He sparred everybody. You know, his first fight, he boxed a kid. This is his first fight. I couldn't put him in just anybody. I had to really match this kid with care. Yeah. I would send out, so I've got this kid. I'll take anything. We'll go open class.
Yeah.
He goes, Paddy, has he fought before? I says, no. He said, well, I've got a kid, 30 fights, he's 125. Yeah, we'll take it. He goes, are you sure, Paddy? I said, yeah, we'll take him. Anyway, on the night, his first fight, and he beat him over 3 rounds.
Awesome. Right. That pretty much brings the first episode to a close.
Fantastic.
I'm going to hit you with one random question. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right. The greatest boxer of all time.
The greatest boxer of all time for me, you know, is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I met him twice in Birmingham. I was Watfield School, I was a bit of a naughty boy, and this was like a school for naughty kids, and he came and opened it. He opened the second phase of Watfield School, and he was in there, and he was a gentleman, and nothing ever fazed him. Yeah. He was just an ordinary man. He brought money to the game. He brought the spice to the game. He was so talented, so quick, so incredible that he brought the money to it. There was no money until he came along.
No.
He brought the money to the game, you know, at that level. So for me, it's got to be Muhammad Ali. Mike Tyson, for me, I love this guy. He was an incredible guy. But as a boxer, you know, I wanted to be like this guy. You know, in my other gym, my room and everything was all covered with his posters. The guy was an ambassador. He was a very honest man, very loyal. You know, I know he had this sort of, you know, showmanship where just before he fought somebody and called them names, but really that was just to get bums on seats. Bums on seats, sell tickets, and he loved every one of these guys. Him and Joe Frazier remained bestest friends forever. It looked like on paper that they hated each other, but they didn't. They absolutely loved each other. They worshipped each other.
That's it.
You know, so it was a great loss, you know, when he died. Rest in peace. But he was an incredible guy, and he didn't let the world try and convert him. You know, they took his titles and everything off him because he stuck to his guns. He didn't want to go to war.
No.
Nobody wants to go to war. It's not us. It's the government makes us go to war.
Correct.
You know, if they could sit, you know, in a ring, you know, look what's going on in the UK. You know, you get those people in this ring here, and I'll soon batter their heads in and say, right, what's going on? Let's sort it out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we get Mr. Trump over here, you know, we get him and sort him out, get the Putin over here, we get all these guys over here and say, fuck's sake.
Maybe that's what we need, just one big boxing ring, just get it all in there.
Stick him in a boxing ring, whatever this shit's going on, sort it out in here.
World's resolved.
Absolutely.
So that comes to an end, first episode. Next episode, we're going to talk about YouTube boxers, whether it's a good or a bad thing, pound for pound boxers, and any other bits that Paddy can bring from his incredible life that we get to explore and find out what he's done and where boxing's taken him. So make sure you join us for the next one. Catch you soon.